Good evening, my viewers. This is George Ondek with the latest edition of the George Ondek Show. I'm very honored to have the town supervisor of the town of Yorktown, Susan Seigel. How are you tonight, Susan?
I am fine, and thank you so much for having me, George.
It's great to have you.
Okay.
It's been 2 years since I've had you on. You were then running for Yorktown supervisor. What do you feel your accomplishments have been, and why do you feel you're the best person for the job for the next 2 years?
That's a good starting question, George. I think I am very proud of the record I have of promises made and promises kept. My first promise was to do something to control taxes, and I believe I have. In 2010, I'm proud to say, we cut expenditures by $800,000 by running a tighter, more efficient town government. We generated over $800,000 of new revenue, not tax revenue, but new revenue. And one of my other accomplishments is that we have gone after people who haven't paid their taxes. We've collected over $2 million
Wow.
of people who owed, and some of them back to 1980s. Okay, and we are now.
Why is it that you don't think the town was collecting the back taxes before? They didn't actively pursue it, or?
They just never got around to doing it. It's that simple, all right? It's a simple process. Legally, it's a very simple process. What we have done is we send people a letter, you know, it's an optional letter, and say you owe back taxes. And if we give them a period of time, let's say 30, 60 days to pay up, or you can enter into an installment agreement. The law allows us to do that. You have 24 months to pay off what you owe. And then we tell them, if you don't pay by this date, then we are actually going to file a petition.
Is that with major corporations, too, who own property in
Anyone.
Town, like the Capelli Corporation?
Capelli also, he got a warning letter this year because we were he owed taxes from 2009.
Right.
He got the letter. He paid up. He owed about over $900,000.
Wow.
And then we get interest payments from the day that the taxes were due and they didn't pay. Mm-hmm. So that's an actual revenue to the town. We assume that that money isn't new money to the town because the town always assumes it's going to collect it. If you're in business, you would call it an accounts receivable. And you hope that, you know, you sell something to somebody and you hope that when you send them an invoice that they're going to pay their bill. Some do, most do, some don't.
Susan, going along with money and expenses for a town, I live in Peekskill, and last night I was at a town board meeting and very surprised to hear our city manager come in with a 3.45 tax increase for the town. How do you feel about the 2% cap Governor Cuomo has said we were going to have, and what could happen to that 2% cap?
Well, did the city manager say he was within the 2% cap, but he had a 3.4% increase? You see, there are two numbers, and I've been trying to explain this to our residents since the day that the tax cap law passed. The cap is on the tax levy. It's how much money the town can raise in taxes. That is one number. The tax rate, what you pay per thousand of assessed value, is something very different. So in your case in Peekskill, your tax rate is, you said
3.45.
3.45.
But I understand that's just a preliminary. They have 60 days to finalize the budget. They don't have a strong supervisor type of government.
Different form.
It's the city manager, and I guess the council and mayor now will give them input, and I'm really hoping they lower it till at least a 2%, if not 0, by the time they're finished.
I'm working on my budget now. By law, the supervisor has to come out with the budget on October 30th, which is a Sunday, so it will be Monday, October 31st. I will present a budget that, actually, Yorktown cannot stay within the 2% tax cap, and I'll explain why. It's the way our state lawmakers fashioned the law. They really did a disservice to the community.
They did. So in other words, that law is a fraud?
No, it's not a fraud. But it gets complicated. Yorktown had a contract. We have an outside contract to pick up our garbage.
Right.
We had a contract that was negotiated many years ago, and for 6 years, we had the same rate. which was wonderful. Well, in 2012, we had to have a new contract, so we went out and did competitive bidding. We knew it was going to increase. Obviously, nothing stays the same for 6 years, and the cost has gone up $1 million. Then if you add in the increase in health benefits and mandated increases for some of our employees because they're under a contract, that would total $1.4 million.
Wow.
If we add up what we can levy and stay within the 2% tax cap, that's $582,000. So you've got, we can only raise taxes by $582,000, but here we know we have to find, we've got to pay out $1.4 million more.
Wow.
So because of the garbage increase, and because the law says that we have to combine all our different funds, which doesn't make sense because not every taxpayer pays into every fund. Some people have public water in Yorktown and some don't. Some have sewers, some don't.
Do people pay taxes if they don't have sewers?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yes and no. You don't need to go into all the complications. Okay. In the northern part of town, if they're in the Peekskill Sanitary Sewer District, the one that you're in Peekskill, even if they're still on septic systems, they pay somewhere between maybe $150 and $200 a year. But that's only for those people in that district, in the northern part of town. But that's a whole other story.
How do you feel about commercial development in the future and business development in Yorktown? And how do you balance it with being green?
Balance, that's the key word. You've got it there. We need additional commercial development to help take the burden off the taxpayers. But Yorktown is a suburban type community, and people moved up here because they like all the green space. They like the large lots, they like the parks. If you wanted a more dense environment, you would have stayed in White Plains, Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, Hartsdale. We don't want to see our 202 and our Route 6 become a central avenue. I'm not demeaning Central Avenue.
And it is becoming clogged already.
It is. Traffic is bad. I know that you go to Peekskill
from Yorktown
late in the afternoon.
Around 5, 6 o'clock at night, and sometimes it's backed up quite a bit.
It's difficult.
Are there any plans for widening Route 6 or Route 202?
202 there are, and actually as you get some increased development, you have the developer pay for the work.
That's a good idea.
So Costco is proposed, you know where the old motel is?
Yes.
They're proposing to widen 202 from Strang Boulevard on the other side of the Taconic Parkway, all the way down to where you start to go down the hill. They're going to make it 3 lanes. Now, the state DOT has a project that will go under construction in 2012. They're going to widen the strip from roughly BJ's down to where the Bear Mountain Parkway extension comes into 202. They're going to put a 3rd lane. They're going to put sidewalks.
In each direction?
No, sidewalks.
No, the 3rd lane?
No, it will be a 3rd lane. It will be a turning lane.
Oh, okay.
They're going to put a traffic light at Pine Grove, which is desperately, desperately needed. They're also going to improve the intersection of the Bear Mountain Parkway and Stony Street, which is a dangerous intersection. So you've got Costco coming down here, widening. The state DOT was supposed to come up to here, and we're getting them to talk to each other so they can meet.
And from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like Costco is a done deal, and we'll be seeing that coming to Yorktown in the northern Westchester area?
It's currently before the planning board. There was what I call a little hiccup. There was a dispute between 2 of the partners that own one of the parcels of land that they didn't want to proceed with the deal. We think that's going to be settled, and so now Costco will come back to the planning board with all its environmental studies. They're going to have to talk about the traffic mitigation. They're definitely going to have to talk about stormwater. We don't want to do anything that's going to increase any flooding for people who live on the south side of Route 202. How many trees they're going to cut down, what replanting they're going to have to do. All of these will be looked into. So we try to balance the green, the environment, with the concern that, yes, we need some tax relief. So that's how we try to deal with it.
How do you feel about affordable housing, and is that coming to Yorktown?
Yorktown has actually had affordable housing for
I mean,
probably 40, 50 years.
No additional.
New additions, the area behind the new Chase Bank on Route 202,
Right.
we have an exciting, what we call a mixed-use development. 2 smaller retail stores,
Right.
which will again help our tax base, and then 26 townhouses, which will be sold.
Townhouses.
Townhouses. They will pay, they're not condominiums, they will pay fee simple, the same way houses are assessed. And those will be for people earning up to, families of 4 earning up to about $84,000.
Oh, wow.
So this will give them an opportunity to buy, a home there.
We just experienced the Chamber of Commerce Yorktown Day
Yeah, it was.
in Yorktown, and it was fabulous.
Yes.
I came, and it was such a festive atmosphere. Businesses were thriving. Friendlies was thriving, and they're not
Sure.
here. They just went under bankruptcy.
Yeah, but I hope they're going to keep the
I
Yorktown
hope
store.
so,
Good,
yes.
good,
Their
good.
ice cream is delicious, but I don't want to put a plug in here for anybody.
Okay.
And so were all of the vendors who
Mm-hmm.
were there, and it was a beautiful Columbus Day. And
Oh, the weather was lovely, and I think the Chamber has put on a lovely, a wonderful opportunity to showcase the Yorktown community, because I'm sure hundreds, if not thousands, of people came from outside of Yorktown.
I think Channel 12 News said it was thousands.
Thousands, and they came and they saw what Yorktown has to offer. We had a lot of our community groups having booths, and the vendors and our business people. So it was just a wonderful, there was fun for the children. There were things for everyone of
And
all
being at the
ages.
gazebo where Veterans Park is, it reminded me of the summertime when the Lions Club
Oh,
of
isn't that
Yorktown
wonderful?
puts on their great summer concerts. And
Free.
yes,
Free
That's
concerts.
Another plus about living in Yorktown.
Yes.
right?
We have a lot of wonderful programs. We have the summer concerts. In the summertime, we have a free outdoor movie. For the children, we'll be having a Halloween parade coming up. We're actually, I don't know if you know this, but we are renovating our senior nutrition center.
Oh, really?
It's. I think they were just starting the demolition today. It's totally redone.
It's going to be redone.
Redone. Everything will be new, bright, cheerful. We'll even have an easier entrance into the room for them.
Now,
So we're
I know
excited.
you're a youngster like me. but
Absolutely.
how-
Thank you.
How do you feel about seniors? What's your
They're nice
position,
people.
position on seniors, and what can you do for them as town supervisor?
Actually, we've done quite a lot in my 2 years, in addition to renovating the senior center, which had been stalled for many years. The town actually lost a grant because nothing was done about it. We also have refurbished a separate room in the Yorktown Community Cultural Building where the senior clubs meet, totally repainted, recarpeted, more finishing touches. We've set up a free computer instruction program for them. We have 5 state-of-the-art computers dedicated for senior use. We have a very, very active senior advisory committee that's been overseeing all of these programs and is always thinking about new and better ideas of what we can do for senior programming. We've done more outreach for homebound seniors. We've had wellness programs, caregiver programs, livable communities programs. You can do mahjong, billiards, knitting, line dancing,
Didn't they
painting.
put a pool table in the...
A pool table.
I think the chamber had
Yeah.
contributed that.
So we have lots of activities, and Mary De Silva, who's our wonderful head of our
Her and her
nutrition
husband
center.
Richie with the Elks Club are
Fan-
fantastic people.
I'm not going to, I told them, Richie, I said, you can't let your wife retire. All right, we're not letting her go.
She's much too young.
All right. And she was talking about starting up a book club for seniors. I've told seniors, you get 3 or 4 or 5 people together with an idea, come and talk to Mary, we'll find a room for you. You want to do something? Just tell us, whether it's Tuesday afternoon, Monday morning, we'll find some
How do you
space for
feel
you.
about the youth of Yorktown? Are there any kind of youth activities in Yorktown?
Have you been to our new teen center?
No, I'm a bit old.
Oh, no, just
And I have no relatives in Yorktown, so, but
come
tell me
into the
about-
building. We have a very active teen center group. Helena Rodriguez is the head of it. She never stops working on behalf of the seniors. They reached out to the community, and businesses and people donated services, donated goods. They totally refurbished a room where the seniors can meet, they have computer things, whatever else the seniors do, I'm not sure. I think there's a window in the door, and if you just peek in, it is just luxurious looking. So they have that meeting room. They use the gymnasium for some, basketball at night. They hold what they call open mic sessions where the
that's
musicians
nice.
come, and they do that in the nutrition center. They can't do it for 4 months while that nutrition center is being renovated. They're finding another
It's
home.
going to take 4 months to renovate?
Approximately.
What do you say to the critics that you're not building a brand-new senior center like Mayapack has?
If somebody has $10 million to give me, I will consider building a senior center. But there's nothing in my pocket unless we don't have the money to build it, and then it would be expensive to maintain it. One of our seniors told me that upstate, I think in Dutchess County, a community built a senior center, and then they had to close it because they didn't have money to operate it.
Really?
We are very mindful of the additional taxes. As seniors keep saying, they're on fixed incomes.
Yes.
And so we have to control taxes. If we had a new senior center, that's another building to heat, to have electricity, water, to maintain. That means staff, that means money, that means taxes. So
And do people who are not seniors, supervisors and legislators realize that even though there's mandates and there's different ways of capping the budget, that the people who are retired are on a fixed income?
They have to be.
Social
Yeah.
Security for the past 2 years has been 0%. So like some towns tell you, well, it's only 1 or 2 or 3%. And then you add that on 4 or 5 or 6% for the school tax, another 2%, and it could be $1,000 or $2,000. So
And that's
why do you work as actively as you can to cut if you have a tremendous increase in some other costs, such as the maintenance or the garbage costs.
That's right. The garbage costs are out of our control. Heating oil, we can't control it. We're not going to turn the thermostat down to 50 degrees.
No,
right?
definitely not.
So you can't. You still have to put your lights on. Our cars, our trucks need gas.
Buildings
to go.
need to be heated.
The building needs to be heated. So we can't control those costs. So what we do is we look, and I've revamped the way we do all of our purchasing. So we're getting better prices. We're making sure we do competitive bidding on them. And that's how we're saving money.
How are you on no-bid contracts for professional services?
Professional services, they're not called bids, they're called requests for proposals, or RFPs.
See, I don't know that. You're educating me.
RFPs. Because you don't necessarily, with a bid, you take the lowest qualified bidder. With a professional, if you have 3 professionals, one's experience might be more what you're looking for, or they might know the town better, so they can kind of do a better job, get up to speed quicker. So even though they might be a little bit more money, you're going to get a better quality service. And also with an RFP, you can negotiate.
What's considered a professional service for a town?
Lawyers, accountants. We did an RFP for our the outside auditor who reviews our records.
Can it be any field or just the legal fields? Or
No, it's
financial
professional. If we have engineering services, we're doing now IT, all our computer networks. Okay, our current contract expired, so we're going out with an RFP for that type of a service. We have, Yorktown, this is something new. I'm not sure if Peekskill has this, an emergency notification system.
I've heard about that.
Do-
Tell me more about that.
There's a snowstorm, and it's a bad one like we had about a year and a half ago, and the highway department and the police decide that people should stay off the roads, lots of trees down, problems
Yes.
like that. You will now automatically get a phone call. You can get it on your landline, your cell phone, you can get it by
Wow.
email, you can get it as a text message, whichever you choose, and it will say this is a snow emergency until 10 p.m. or whatever it is. When we had the electric outage with Hurricane Irene, we would be able to tell them this is the situation, we have dry ice available, we have the YCC is opened as an emergency center. We can get the information out to the community.
Wow, that's tremendous.
And we just instituted, when
Is
there's
it
a
very-
water main break, we can tell, we can zero in on a particular neighborhood
Wow.
and just to 50 homes, to 100 homes, and say, there's a water main break in your area, we anticipate it will take 5 hours, and if the water comes up dirty, just run it, and it will clear up. If people suddenly see no water, or they see dirty water, why?
Is it very expensive for a program?
We got a
like
grant.
A grant?
I got a grant
Oh.
from Entergy, okay?
Fantastic.
Last year, we got a grant from Entergy, and they're paying for it. And I just hope it's like insurance. You have to have it, but you hope you never need it.
Yes.
I hope that we don't have emergencies.
That's tremendous that in an emergency.
We can reach out to
How
everyone.
about going on television at the same time and informing the people? Is there
We-
some way to do that in the future?
Well,
as
we could do that because
Or on the
we have
computer?
cameras in town hall, and we can assuming there's electricity. We can broadcast and say that whatever the emergency is, give them the information, tell them what to do or what not to do, whatever the case would be.
A question I ask all my legislators who come on the show: how do you feel about your police force in Yorktown, and do you feel the citizens are adequately covered?
I think the citizens are happy with their police force. Yorktown is very proud of its police force. They do an excellent job. If we had more money,
Yes.
we could have more police officers. But again, you said it, the seniors and everybody else. You don't have to be a senior to be concerned about
Safety.
taxes. Well, you're concerned
Taxes,
about that, but
of
you're concerned.
course.
So everything is a balance. What I've been saying to people is you can't have it all. You can't have low taxes and all of the services you want. And so it's the job of the town board, the 4 councilmen and me, to listen to the community and get a sense of what's best for the entire community, and then come up with a tax rate that is affordable by most people and prioritize the most important services. I'm sorry, we can't have it all. So police is important.
Do you see any cuts in your budget of personnel this year? Or?
I don't know yet.
You
I'm
don't know?
still
You're
crunching the number.
It's still in the process.
That's my homework for tonight when I go home.
And your budget doesn't have to be in till
October 31st. Yeah. So I'm still working very closely with the controller, meeting with the department heads. We're going over, we're looking for, I cut a lot and saved, again, $800,000 in 2010. I haven't seen the finished records for 2011 yet. We're looking for still more ways to save.
I just read in the local news, something just happened in the last day or two, that something was passed on religious or holy days of athletic events being, and I know you passed on the vote on that.
I abstained.
But I'm going to say a commentary here.
Yeah.
The National Football League is going to have a football game on Christmas Eve.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I think the Giants or the Jets, and gee, I think that's kind of terrible, and it's good law to pass that a local high school or athletic event shouldn't happen on holy days.
I think all the town board members felt that any community group, whether it's the athletic club, certainly the Chamber of Commerce, when they schedule the fair, in the past they've had it on Saturdays. They realized that Saturday was Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish calendar.
Right.
So that's why they changed it to Sunday.
Uh-huh.
All right. So they were they thought months and months and months ahead of time when they were scheduling. When the town board in December looks at its schedule for the following year, we always consider certain holidays, and we try to avoid them if they happen to fall out on a Tuesday night when the town board meets. We would hope that all community groups, when they're scheduling something, take into consideration the makeup of our community. We have many religious groups in this community, and they should be considerate. Not every holiday in any religion, there are different holidays. Some are more important than others. And if they're not of that faith, then they should just ask, okay, is this an important holiday? All right, is this a lesser holiday? And then try to adjust their schedule. I abstained because I firmly believe in the separation of church and state.
Yes.
And I did not think it was the role of government to vote anything that dealt with the topic of religion. So that's why I abstained. But I think, and I hope that everyone in the community will just be more thinking going forward.
Ms. Seigel, I can't believe it. Half hour has
It's
just
gone by
about
so
gone
fast.
by. Is there anything you'd like to say? I have about a minute and a half left in closing to my vast audience and my Yorktown audience.
No, I thank you very much for having me, and it's been a pleasure to serve the Yorktown community for 2 years. I'm looking forward to another 2 years, and I urge everyone to go out and vote on November 8th. November 8th is election day. The vote is so important, and I think we've seen enough in the news these days about countries where people don't have the vote, and it should make us all thankful for what our forefathers fought so hard for.
I can tell you one thing. I do treasure that. Since I was able to vote, I don't know, forgot what it was, 18 or 21.
It was 21 when I
I
guess I'm older than you.
Except for being in military service in Vietnam, I don't think I've missed a vote.
Good.
And if people complain about government, if they don't vote in a primary, or if they don't vote in a school board election or a town election or a city election, they're not really expressing their rights as a citizen and what they really want, and they get what they want then. They don't get what they want.
That's right, and the local government is the closest government to the people.
Is there a number people can reach you at in case they have any questions?
Yes, they can call me at Town Hall, which is 962-5722, extension 200. Excuse me, and my email is supervisor@yorktownny.org.
Once again, Mrs. Susan Seigel, Town Supervisor of Yorktown, I thank you for being on the George Ondek Show, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week, and thank you once again, Ms. Seigel.
Thank you again for having me.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Good.
Yeah, so it's been quite 2 years.
It's big.